Good afternoon, everyone. So, how are you doing? So, here we are meeting each other today, just a couple of days before the exam, and we are going to talk about speed and accuracy along with anything else that you want me to talk about. So, of course, I'll tell you what I'm here to tell you, but is there anything that you want to talk about? Is there anything that you are concerned? If yes, please share that with me, and I would absolutely love to handle or make sure that I address those concerns as well. So today we are going to talk about speed and accuracy. Now, I generally divide my schedule into two broad parts. Okay, so there is this time right around the cat and then the rest of the year. So when I look at it, what is it that we want the most in our life? What do we want the most in our lives? What say you? क्या है जो सबसे ज्यादा चाहते हैं हम लोग? So, what do we want the most in life? So I'll tell you, most of the times people ask for paisa. People want the money to rain on them, है ना, पैसे की बारिश हो, या फिर people at times also want कि वो किसी दूसरे पे पैसे की बारिश कर पाए. Remember? Remember तू पैसा पैसा करती है. हाँ, मैं बारिश कर दूं पैसे की. Or we want somebody that we are in love with. So अपने को क्या चाहिए? अपने को चाहिए पैसा, अपने को चाहिए प्यार. Right? That's what we generally want. So these are the two things that you and I are usually after. Right? But when we approach these days around the cat, then I notice that people tend to change slightly. Okay, when I look here, I'm actually reading your messages. So it's not that I'm not with you. It is just that I'm just trying to read your messages. Vasundhara, I mean, power in our world today is basically money, right? But the moment this CAT exam starts approaching, I notice people asking me about this slightly different thing, and that is, hang on, is there a problem with my stream? Just give me a second. Let me just see. Hi, it appears that I have a slight issue with my streaming speeds today. I think there is an issue with the internet. So please bear with me for a while. But we normally want these two things, right? But as the CAT exam approaches, we try to look for slightly different things. So then I see people suddenly talking about these other two things. And those other two things are speed and accuracy. So they would normally want a lot of other things in life, but as the exam approaches, all of us, everybody starts focusing on, start fixating on this simple thing, speed and accuracy. But I do have a problem with it, and I'll tell you what that problem is. So my problem with it is that I don't like this order. People normally talk about speed and accuracy. What I personally prefer is to flip these two things around. So instead of speed and accuracy, I would generally talk about accuracy and speed, because the first thing that you and I are supposed to build is accuracy. It's only when you start getting things right that you are supposed to focus on speed. Okay, so it's only when that happens that you are supposed to pay attention to speed. Oh, terrific. If people are saying that they had no issues, somehow I did not know why I felt that there are issues. But then I know that you have worked a lot. You've worked really very hard to ensure that you go ahead and build great accuracy. Uh, do you really need speed? So tell me, do you need speed? Do you really need to go fast in the CAT? So right now, because we're meeting each other right before the CAT, I am asking this question that is specific to the CAT. Do we even need speed? Hmm. Oh, Prasad, we have a CAT a day after, so that is something that won't make sense today. But do we need speed? Okay, so let me let me take you through a brief equation. Okay, let me give you the score and percentile relationship using CAT 21. So last year, if you wanted to get a 99% in the exam, you basically needed to score 99 marks. So if you got 99 marks, you got 99 percentile last year, which essentially means that you needed to attempt what? Just 45 questions with 80% accuracy, isn't it? So if you attempt 45 questions with 80% accuracy, you get 99 marks, which means that you get a 99 percentile, which means that you actually have 2 minutes 40 seconds per question. And if I remember it correctly, somebody who got 98.68 percentile last year had a score of 112, which basically meant that that person needed to attempt 51 questions with 80% accuracy. And that will still change the equation only slightly. So you would have 2 minutes 21 seconds. Right? So actually, if I look at it, we mentally think that we are in that we have to go really fast while solving a question. The truth is, the equation is not that hopeless in the CAT. And in every section, you would obviously find some 3, 4, 5 questions that you can answer very easily. There are these 3, 4, 5 questions that you can answer in maybe a minute or so, which means that you actually have close to 3 minutes for every question. Parichit, we cannot really generalize it, yeah. We cannot really turn it into a formula there. Okay. So now the question shifts to, okay, then how do we make sure that we are able to attempt this many questions with 80% accuracy? So how do we go about doing it? That's our goal, right? So there are two things that one can do. Now, if I look back, if I look at the past, you could have obviously acquired more and more knowledge, became better at skills. Somebody was asking about how to improve comprehension. Now, that is a skill. I can tell you how to improve your comprehension, but then you won't register a significant increase in 48 days. Or if you say that I want to improve my 48 hours, sorry, if you say that I want to improve my calculation skills, or I want to add 4 more chapters to my list of strengths, well, that is all in the past. So let's not worry about looking back. Let us focus on looking ahead. Let us see what we can do in the next 48 hours to ensure that we get the best out of our preparation so far. So I focus on two things when it comes to looking forward this close to the exam. So I've often seen somebody who's really well prepared, but he's not able to realize his potential in the exam because he's somehow not able to hit that target, hit that goal. Or let's say if there are two people who are equally well prepared, I've seen even their scores differ. Why? Because they are not able to manage stress, or they are not able to manage their time. So make sure that you manage stress and you manage your time during the exam. If you can do these two things, I am sure you are going to do really phenomenally well. So how do we manage stress? Any suggestions, anybody? How do we go ahead and manage stress? Anybody who would like to share his or her technique? What do you do so that you manage stress? I hope this is something that a lot of faculty members have actually gone on to share with you. So I hope that you have been thinking of it. So I say that in general, put yourself in a positive mindset. So breathing exercises, touching the feet of the parents before the exam, absolutely, whatever works for you. Right? So for instance, I generally say that, okay, a lot of athletes use visualization. You can do that. So maybe visualization, positive self-talk, watching some of those light-hearted, feel-good movies. Okay, focusing on the goal. Different people actually have different ways of dealing with it. So whatever works for you, make sure that you do that in order to put yourself in a positive frame of mind, and then play with different scenarios. There are times when the exam can catch you unaware. But what if you play with different scenarios? Scenarios like, okay, what if this section is tough? What will I do? Or if that section is tough, what am I going to do? If my screen hangs, what am I going to do? So play with all those different scenarios so that you are really well prepared. And over the last few months, you've seen that we've taken you through a lot of sessions where we've talked about different kind of scenarios. एक अभी सेशन भी तो हुआ था जिसमें हमने आपको बताया था यार आई एम बैंगलोर पेपर सेट कर रहा है तो इस बार क्या एक्सपेक्ट करें, राइट? तो वो सारी चीजें. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू आर in your mind, you know what you plan to do whenever each one of these things happens or each one of these things arises. And then don't forget that you are supposed to sleep and feed your body properly. So focus on getting that 8 hours of sleep. Focus on ensuring that you get a lot of protein in the next couple of days, especially in the morning of your exam right before your slot. And finally, you can actually have some kind of pre-exam ritual. So you are supposed to reach the examination hall early, right? So once you reach there, what do? You can listen to music. You can spend some time with the others. Or maybe you are somebody who prefers staying alone. Maybe you are somebody who needs your coffee or a Red Bull. Maybe you're somebody who needs water. So whatever it is, whatever works for you, make sure that you do that and put yourself in the right frame of mind. And then you are going to be alone for a while when you are sitting there on the desk with a lot of other things happening around you. So just engage in some breathing exercises. Make sure that you align yourself with that very moment. Go through the directions that appear on your screen very carefully. And then just take it up from there. So make sure that you manage your stress well. Then we have people who've suggested going to a temple. So whatever, absolutely. If you're somebody who is religious and you believe that blessings play an important role in your life, why not? As I said, whatever works. And then you need to manage time. So how do we manage time? So it's basically all about question selection. Or in other words, we have finite amount of time, right? 40 minutes per section. Within those 40 minutes, we want to ensure that we go from easy questions to difficult questions. So how can we go from easy to difficult? One of the things that you need is self-awareness. You need to know what it is that you are good at and what it is that you are not that good at. So, for example, come to think of it, if I talk about the syllabus, I mean, I'm using this word very loosely. If I look at the syllabus of the CAT exam, then you'll have various chapters or skills that we can list out, right? Now, all of these chapters or all of these skills can be divided into 3 categories. Category 1 is areas of discomfort. Category 2 are areas of comfort, and then you have a lot of in-between areas. So just to put some concrete numbers to it, discomfort are areas where your accuracy rate happens to be below 40%. Areas of comfort are areas where your accuracy rate is consistently above 70%, and all of these in between areas, 40 to 70% accuracy, they exist in the middle. Right? Now, this is a really dangerous column, the in-between column. These are questions that you look at in the exam and then you think whether I should attempt it or not, and then you attempt, and then there are times when you get them right, there are times when you get them wrong, and it eats up so much of your time. So in your exam, just focus on areas of comfort. Anything which is here, mentally just think that it is an area of discomfort and you are not supposed to touch it. And by now, through your preparation, I am sure you have added a lot of things to your areas of comfort. So Vasundhara says, I panic when I say difficult question. Should I mark options if I'm 60% sure? Vasundhara, that depends on the exam and the situation really, and the kind of strategy that you use. But I'd say if you're 60% sure, you can give it a shot if you want to. If you've managed to rule out two options and you're reasonably certain of one of those, but not 100% certain, I mean, depends, right? And let's not forget that in the CAT exam, you are not even supposed to solve all the questions, are you? I mean, you can safely leave out 20% of the questions anyway, without a worry, without a bother in the world. Maybe even 30%. And if you attempt the rest of them with 80% accuracy, you should be good to go. So as long as you manage to get around 7 to 8 questions right in every section. So say you attempted 10 and you got 8 right in every section, you would generally be good to go when it comes to your sectional cutoff. And then you can focus on the area that you are confident about and you can pull ahead of the competition there. You can attempt a lot of questions in that section, right? So this self-awareness will help you a lot. So basically, what I want you to do is, when you look at a question, so follow a round-based approach in the section. So look at a question and then ask yourself, can I solve it or not? So let us say it is a question that you cannot solve, where your answer is, yeah, I do not know how to solve it. Then we can't do much about it, right? Skip it. We'll not even bother with this question anymore. However, you are obviously going to find questions that you know how to solve. So when that happens, so you're reading questions, right? You're focusing on your areas of strength. You come across a question that is from your area of strength and you know how to solve it. Then ask yourself a simple question. Can I solve it in under 90 seconds? If yes, then attempt it. On the other hand, if you think it is going to take you more than 90 seconds, then mark for review. If time permits, you can come back to it later. Right? So we need to be pretty straightforward here. So at the end of the day, on your screen, there'll be a question. The question has not seen you before. You haven't seen that question earlier. It all boils down to now, can I solve it or not? If I cannot solve it, leave it. If I can solve it, then the question is, should I attempt it right now or should I attempt it later? And that decision can just be based on how much time it is going to take you to solve that particular question. So if it's going to take you a lot of time, then you'd be better off attempting it later if time permits. And this will actually vary from section to section. How? Now, when I talk about VARC, now you notice in RC, you just need to look at your familiarity level with the passage and then decide on your priority order. Within VA, best summary is a version of reading comprehension. If you're good at main idea questions, you should attempt them. Then I personally prefer going to odd one out and then parajumbles. And mind you, theta questions do not have any negative marking, so it makes sense to attempt them even when you are not very sure. Okay, so odd one outs normally do not take that long for me. Best summary you can work with elimination. RC go by familiarity. Same thing is true for quant. There are chapters that you're good at. If there is a question that belongs to that chapter, that area, chances are that you'd be able to solve it with relative ease. DILR, exact same thing. If you come across a set which is not very complex, where you do not have a lot of information that needs to be arranged and there are these linkages, chances are that you'd be able to answer the questions easily. And even here, in RC, a lot of times people say that, okay, if I read a passage, then there are times when I get stuck on a question, should I attempt it? No, if you're stuck on a question, you're not sure, leave it, no? You do the same thing in DI. There are times when you're not able to see a question or two. Right? Piyush, which section are you worried about? We've basically had dedicated sessions for each section. And as I said, you normally need to attempt around, you need to get around 7-8 questions right. And that would generally ensure that you're able to clear the sectional cutoffs. So just focus on identifying those areas of strength that give you that sectional cutoff. Okay, specifically in VARC, sectional cutoff would mean what? 2 passages, right? That's it. And you're done. So I'm sure in the entire section, you definitely find a couple of passages that are doable for you. At the end of the day, RC तो है भाई. Unseen passages ही तो हैं, स्कूल में करते तो थे. So if you plan to pull ahead of the competition using the other 2 sections, you can always decide on doing that. Right? And if the 7-8 questions are a big challenge, I don't know, just try out a mock today. If you haven't attempted mock 10, try that out and see how that works. So not that huge a challenge really. Okay, so differs from area to area, but that's exactly what I want you to do. And here are a couple of pro tips. First one, use the question paper button to read the RC passages. So you know that on the somewhere on the top right hand corner you get that question paper button. So whenever your question involves something longish, something big, right? Something like an RC passage. It can also be, for that matter, an LR set at times. You can use that question paper button to read the RC passages. In fact, until the last year, I used to solve it there. But then GB, Gautam sir told us yesterday that this time around, they have given the questions but not the answer choices in that question paper button. So if that is the case, you'll not be able to solve it there, but you can always read the passage and then go to those individual questions, and then you can keep coming back to answering or checking the question paper to refer to the passage again. So I normally find that it makes me faster. It is easier for me to read on that question paper. And then here is another thing. There are times when a question appeals to our heart or our mind. कई बार ना दिल और दिमाग बीच में आ जाते हैं. So you look at a question, it's such a nice question in LR, a puzzle that you would love to solve, but then it's taking you a lot of time and you're still stuck on it. नहीं करना. Don't do that. भाई सवाल के प्यार में नहीं पढ़ना है अपने को. अपने को सिर्फ सॉल्व करना है कम से कम टाइम में. So if it turns out to be a question which is beautiful but is taking you a long time, please move out. Similarly, there are questions where this is from my area of strength. I will be able to figure out something here, and you keep spending a lot of time. Please don't do that. Learn to cut your losses. If you've spent say 30, 40, 50 seconds on a question and you still haven't made any headway, and you're still in that experimental phase where you're trying to figure out the answer, यार कहाँ से मिलेगा, क्या करने से मिलेगा, then ideally you shouldn't even spend any more time on that question. You should move out. So no ego, no प्यार. दिल दिमाग बीच में नहीं आने, अपने को सिर्फ सॉल्व करना है. Right? Simplified is asking, based on previous year's pattern, how many correct answers from each section could fetch on an overall percentile of 90-95. Here we have taken a lot of sessions, and if you go through those, you'd find within the last 2-3 days we've answered all these questions. Okay, so I in fact gave you a snapshot that if you attempt 48 with 80% accuracy, you should be done. 45 questions with 80% accuracy, you'll get 99 percentile. Reduce that by another 5 odd questions, and you'd probably reach 90. Right? Oh, Ankit, that's okay, yaar. There are days when it happens. It's okay. And here is a really important thing, right? Don't forget to save your responses before you move over to the next question. Okay, so save and move. A lot of people at times forget this and they end up missing out on some marks. So if you do this, if you have a plan, if you know your strengths and you move ahead in a systematic manner, I am absolutely confident that you'd be able to perform at the best of your ability, and that's what matters. And remember, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. Okay? So if you're a little extra careful tomorrow, if you're a little extra focused tomorrow, if you're a little extra streamlined tomorrow, I am sure that you'd get a great score. And the moment you're done with the CAT, you know that we are going to bring you the first impression at 11:30, and thereafter there'll be a detailed analysis of every slot. So slot 1 will start at 12:30, slot 2 at 4:30, and slot 3 at 8:30. We will be with you for the entire day, where we will tell you about the difficulty level and the number of questions that you could have and should have attempted, along with the sort of score and percentile that you can get. And once the CAT is over, we'll focus on these other non-CAT exams as well. And as you can see, we happen to have 90 non-CAT mocks available, 50 non-CAT mocks available too. And in case you know of people who are preparing for CAT 23, send them our way and stay in touch on all of these platforms. And with that, I would wish you the best performance of your life for this exam. So may you feel that you are in that zone when you see that question paper. May it all comes really easy to you when you sit down to solve it. And with that thought, I would like to take leave, and we'll meet each other once again tomorrow at 1 p.m. and thereafter on, of course, on the D-Day. Aditya, I first read RC questions, then read the RC para. Makes a lot, that which relates to the question, I think. So what you're saying is that you read the passage, then you go to the questions, and then you come back to the right paragraph. Perfect. That's exactly how you should be approaching it. Okay, so that's it from me today. I look forward to meeting you guys once again. Until then, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch. If you need us, we're going to be there for you. Have a great day ahead. Okay? And do reach out if you have any question, any concern on the Telegram group, or you can leave it in the comment box down below. We would love to help you.